And now I have a real pleasure to introduce you a panel discussion which is entitled Why Companies Have to Plug the Trust Gap on Nature. This discussion will lead Krzysztof Berenda, RMF FM. As you can see, now we are rearranging a scene and almost be ready. I have a real pleasure to introduce you Krzysztof Berenda. Krzysztof, please join me on the scene. Hello.
Great pleasure to introduce our great guests. So let me start. Katarzyna Sulimierska from Schoenherr, lawyer, partner. Give a warm welcome, please. Matthias Wikstrom from Doconomy. Marian Sepesi from Amazon. And Damian Zieliński from Mastercard Europe. Guys, it's a great pleasure to have you here. Just before our discussion, I have asked one question to myself, because as you can see, I have read your names from my cell phone, and the question was, should I print on a paper, on a piece of paper, your names, or maybe it's better, it's greener to have it on iPhone. So it's greener to have iPhone with electricity, coal and so, or maybe it would be greener to print it on recyclable paper. What do you think? Which one is better? Want to start? Matthias?
Of course. So great to be here. I would, as we have a lawyer with us, I can steal your line, because when a lawyer gets a question, they say, it depends.
And a more straight answer, please?
The more straight answer, I think we are a little bit ignorant today of the carbon footprint of devices and of data, of the energy going into that. Data today is around 3% of the total global carbon footprint, according to a recent BCG study. So I think, depending on how the paper is produced, I would go for paper for quite a few more years, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, me as a lawyer, I started actually to, when you asked that question, to analyze what's the footprint of that. And I would say that's still the paper, probably, because you need to charge that phone. In order to charge it, you need energy. In order to have energy, you will probably have to use, a lot of resources. So.
One good thing with cell phone is that I can check few things online. And I started with you, Matthias, because you are from Sweden. You are from Poland, on the other hand, and there is a slight difference, because right now, right this moment, in Poland, 57% of our energy is produced from coal. In Sweden, 0 right now, at the moment. So I guess the answer may depend on this little slight thing, right?
Well, I think it's a very good point. But in Sweden, we have been blessed with a lot of hydro. So we have a lot of hydro classed as renewable because we have a lot of rivers in the north. Our challenge is getting the distribution of power, getting the distribution from the power sources up in the north down to where our production facilities are, which is a challenge in itself. That's why we have nuclear power plants in the south, which Denmark thinks is a little bit shady, because it's basically in their backyard. And I think we can all agree that nuclear power plants of today can serve many purposes, and they can also be a great threat. So in Poland, we see a great transition, and we see a great transition in the minds of people, understanding the negative side effects of coal and fossil fuels. But it's a little bit unfair, because we've had natural capabilities with the water power to get out of the fossil fuels dependency at an earlier stage, I would say.
Okay, so let's move to Amazon, Marian. Huge company, huge delivery company, e-commerce company. How can we, let's say, switch that to plug the trust gap on nature, from your perspective?
I think it's as you just said, it depends how we do this. But I've seen the last movement around the world, and I'm very pleased. And also in our company, it's going everything to green direction. So how can you do this in a company like ours? I think there are many ways, but two are most important for me is to set up the tone from the top of the company. So you set up KPIs, you measure your effort in your environment, and you put it in the same category as the cost, safety, productivity, and other elements, people in your metrics. So this is what we have done for many years. The second is empower people. So people come with the ideas, and then you need to empower them to come with the idea. I have one example that we have robotics centers. We have 3 robotics centers in Poland. And we have done incredible work in the electricity efficiency. We put a lot of LED on this. And last 2 months, we've been talking about how we can improve the things. And one employee came to us and said, look, why do we need LED when the robots don't see? And nobody thought about this before. So now we are going to redesign all the FCs, all our fulfillment centers in a way that we don't need the LED 24 hours. We need only when there is ambassadors, they are doing the job that needs to be done on the shop floor. So these are the two examples how we can do as a big company to change things.
Damian, Zieliński, Mastercard as well. Big company, but from other sector and from financial sector, how does it look?
So building on this, first of all, we have to be consequent, we have to be serious, and we have to be authentic, to move the needle as businesses and to make it work. What that means in practice, if I look at our company, it is definitely a multi-dimensional approach. It has to start from the very top, and I'm happy to see our executives not only talking but acting in this domain. It's about engaging our employees. If we look at the recent employee engagement kind of surveys, we will also learn that this is one of the core values for employees, especially for younger generation, millennials, not to mention Gen Z. So basically, as corporates also, we have to kind of try to share, our business values with environmental values in order to attract new employees, but also to engage them, to make them, feel comfortable, to retain them, and to address them well-being. So this is one thing. But most importantly, sustainability requires scale. It needs everybody's involvement. That is why, on top of our engagement on the company level, we are trying to work out solutions that would empower and educate, empower, and allow to act end users. Because then we are talking millions of us, hundreds of millions, or billions even, right?
Guys, I have to make one confession because I have lied to you at the beginning. Because at the beginning I have said that the question before our conversation was to use this piece of electricity, plastic, metal, to use my phone to read your names, or maybe should I print on paper? There was one more thing. Just before our conversation, I went to a vending machine to buy a bottle of water, and the question was, should I use plastic card? Mastercard, or maybe it would be greener to use my phone again. So which one would be greener? Because you are producing a lot of plastic.
Exactly, but it's a process, and this process is already happening as we speak. Today, if we look at the Polish market, roughly 20% of transactions are already made with phones. So that are fully digital. Of course, this is the way to go, but it will take us another, 5 to 10 years to, to get to this fully digital mode. So a nice bridge to get there in this fully digital mode is to produce even this, actually, these are not necessarily plastics. We are talking eco-friendly, sustainable, pieces of materials, and this is something that is scaling big time in Poland, Europe, and beyond as we speak.
There are a few problems with all of this, because sometimes companies are only trying to protect environment just to make it look nice for them. How to make a real change? How to distinct just marketing from real being green? What do you think? Matthias?
I think it's very, very simple. You just follow the money. It's basic financial analysis. Look at what people are paying for and what they're investing in instead of what they are saying and communicating. One example, working with Mastercard, and for transparency, Mastercard is a small investor in our company as well. They wanted to enable everyone in the world to understand the carbon footprint per transaction. So in May last year, we implemented our methodology in the Mastercard global platform. That is one way of walking the talk, not only saying, we will do it or we will pay for it, but also enabling others. I think this panel represents that very well. We have language, we have law, we have tech, leading tech for distribution, we have leading tech for trust in payments. Imagine the four of you getting together in a room and saying, how do we work this out? There is no silver bullet. There is not one shot. This is a cocktail effect of many good things that we can probably not even foresee the potential positive effects of. So I think the basic line is look at what people are investing in instead of what they're saying. The second most important component is enable others to contribute as well. Share your knowledge. Enter into maybe unorthodox alliances. Use the law. Climate law is going to be utterly important. The language is going to be utterly important, because if you don't understand what needs to be done, how will you be able to contribute? We need to look at climate inclusion out of a language perspective as well.
Katarzyna, please tell me, is it possible to do it light way, or maybe it's only hard way for companies to enforce, by force, by law, going on this green side of the economy?
Well, I think that really depends on the company. Most of the companies right now are trying to be green because, as Matthias said, it's just profitable for them. And it's good. And it's good for environment that it's profitable, because they take care that all the regulations are in place, that they are compliant with the law regulations, and there's a lot more and more of it. And they actually go even beyond that. They search for solutions that are not only required by regulations, but the ones that will improve their business, will make them more trendy for other generations and the young generations. So it's, I would say, it's a win-win situation to everything, well, to everyone.
You are coming from different sectors, as we have mentioned. What are the biggest challenges in your sectors in this course, Katarzyna?
In my sector?
Yeah, biggest challenges to enforce this green policy.
I'm usually enforcing that for my clients because I'm a lawyer. So we usually don't have a lot of policies to enforce in the law firm, except for, I don't know, switching from plastic bottles to just...
or printing paper.
Or printing, or not too much printing, yes. So that's the problems that we came across. But I see that the clients are really trying to be compliant, and sometimes they have problem how to do that. So, and how to, for example, be compliant with the solutions they come up with. Yeah, the new solutions that are not really regulated by law, but the ones that they think it's worth introducing.
Marian, for Amazon, what are the biggest challenges over here?
I think that we are positioned very well with the scale and as a leading tech company. I think that the companies want to follow us. Amazon Pledge Fund, $2 billion. We invited a lot of partners. There are more than hundreds of companies now that want to join, and they sign up this. The things that we are doing in the company are the following. We are already the biggest buyer of renewable energy. Our worldwide operation, 65% is already this. We have the internal plan by 2025 to be 100% renewable energy, the biggest buyer in the world, 100%. The other is the waste diversification. 90% of our FCs in Poland, we already sort all the waste. We have the packaging. Since 2015, for example, we eliminated 36% of the packaging, which is more than 1,000 tons of the packaging material, which is equivalent of 2 billion parcels, shipping boxes. And electric cars, I think investment in Rivian, in US, 100,000 trucks, and in Europe with Mercedes, 3,000 electric vans, scooters, electric scooters. So these are the things that big companies can show the way. And I fully agree with Matthias. It's about the money. I think if the banks and the big institution will not invest in a gray energy, but in green energy, it's a win-win situation for everyone.
I have to ask one thing about shipping, because shipping costs are really cheap right now, really, really low. For example, in Amazon, and I do have Amazon Prime, I can have shipping for free. And that's why I can buy this, next day this. Maybe those costs are too low. When costs are higher, then I will buy 5 things, lock them up together, and then just produce one package only. Maybe it would be cheaper and better for environment.
I think yes, but this is what the customer wants, not only from Amazon, from everywhere else. So when we change our behavior, when we will have option that we say, I don't need it tomorrow, I can wait for 2-3 days to have in one package, that is, I think, way for all of us. I think it's a common goal we should have.
Damian, biggest challenges in financial sector?
So I look at this as a product head. If I look at, I try to attract our B2B customers, B2C customers in terms of providing differentiation to the existing products. And definitely we have a lot of arguments to prove that, because definitely this eco-friendly assets, including carbon calculator, resonate very well with users across Europe, also here in Poland. And we have, facts and figures for that. Still, among other challenges like business cases, looking at this purely from the short-term perspective, it's not that evident to prove the business case kind of directly. I would also mention educational layer. Carbon footprint. I have no clue, to be completely frank, how much carbon I basically produce, right? I don't have the stores yet, like carbon footprint calculator delivered by my own bank. So it will be a process to educate me, to educate all of us, and then to to move the needle in terms of compensating and acting accordingly.
Guys, last questions for everyone, because we do have 2 minutes, so please 30 seconds. How not to waste this effort? I mean, with one hand we are helping environment, but sometimes on the other hand we are causing harm. So how not to waste our effort, our money? Let's start, Katarzyna.
I think that impact of every action should be actually well analyzed. Sometimes it's probably better not to take any action than to take action that that will be in fact not so economic friendly. So I would say that at the beginning, analyze of everything that the companies or we as customers decide to do.
Matthias?
I think it comes down to understanding the impact of our efforts. It's not, people say we should stop doing things. I tend to disagree. I think we should start doing things. We should start to understand our impact, to engage around it and to reduce it. And instead of inventing new vehicles, new services and new rails, we should make use of some of the most efficient rails in the world, Mastercard being one, some of the most efficient companies in the world, Amazon being one, and use their efficiencies and redirect it, to your point, driving profits for sustainability, because if it's profitable to save the world will be saved in no time.
True. Marianne?
Fully agree with Matthias. I think that the KPIs, but environmental KPIs should be part of all decisions what we take as a company. It's not anymore quality, people, performance. It should be also this element.
And final word for
By
Damian.
the way, this is part of my personal KPIs, and by the way, this is already linked to the bonus scorecards of all our employees starting this year. So it helps, definitely.
Guys, thank you very much. Katarzyna Sulimierska, Matthias Wikstrom, Marian Sapeszi, and Damian Zieliński. Thank you very much again.
Thank you.